Hey Ferocious fans, Nate Powell from ferociousbeard.com. Today I want to talk to you about beard balm, specifically grainy and gritty beard balm. What happens to it to make it this way and how you can fix it. It's not junk, don't throw it away. You can fix it. How do you do this? Stick around, I'll tell you how to do it. Okay, welcome back. So, when Ferocious Beard Company sends your beard balm, we send it when it looks like this. Nice and smooth, and it's been properly emulsified, and we send it out and we bring it to the post office, and we hope for the best so that when it arrives at your location, it will be just as smooth as when it left here. But the problem is that shea butter can sometimes start to melt in the tin. You know, when it sits in the post office, when it sits in the truck, when it's being delivered to your door and it sits in your mailbox, wherever it sits, it can start to melt, especially now in the summer months. So shea butter has a melting point of 89 to 100 degrees. And this is the shea butter we use. Let me show you right now how gritty shea butter looks. If you can notice, that's shea butter, and there's grit in there. All those little things in here, I've got some gloves on, but all these are basically little gritty pieces of shea butter. Now, there's also such a thing as this, which is a high melting point shea butter. And the reason they call it a high melting point shea butter is the melting point is 104 to 113 degrees. Now you can see how smooth this is, but the reason we don't generally use the high melting point shea butter is because it changes the consistency of the balm and it makes it harder. And our beard balm is more of a conditioning beard balm. For the if you're looking for something harder, we sell a beard wax, and that's really what we're using for if you want a nice firmer look to your beard or firmer feel to it. So with our beard balm, we use this regular shea butter, and again, the melting point is 89 to 100 degrees. And so as clearly when we send it out in the summer months, it's going to get hotter than that sometimes. And so what happens is when it arrives at your doorstep and you bring it inside and you open it up and it looks like this, it's because it's melted. As it starts to cool off slowly, it can cause these beads to form. It's basically the shea butter crystallizes basically, and that's what causes these. So it's a normal thing for anything with shea butter in it, and I don't want you to throw the product away or think it's bad, because it's not. In fact, there's a simple solution for how to fix this once you've received it at your house to make it smooth as it was when it left Ferocious Beard Company. And I'm going to show you how to do that. Okay, so to fix the shea butter and make it smooth as it was when it left Ferocious Beard Company or any other beard company you buy your beard oil from, you're going to need a couple of things. Here's basically what we're going to do is we're going to put it in the oven at 170 degrees. And so you'll need a cookie sheet, paper towel, and the reason for the paper towel is because we are going to melt it down, and I don't want you to spill the melted beard wax all over your cookie sheet. Now, if you have a gas oven, don't put this in here. I have an electric oven at home, so I'm not going to, it's not going to catch fire or anything like that, but I just don't want you to obviously catch anything on fire in there. But with a electric oven, I've done this before, and I would just melt it at 170 degrees. Okay, and so how I discovered this was happening for my own products here that I sell is that I also sell these products at a farmer's market locally. And so, you know, I packed up some of the products we've made in advance and brought them to the farmer's market, and they were in nice, smooth condition. And while I was there, of course, some of them started getting warm, and so I kept them as shaded as I could. And then when I brought them back here, they started to cool off again And when they did, some of them had this grittiness. And based on that, plus the fact that some customers report that their beard balms have been gritty, I've been able to find a solution for that and figure out what's causing it. Now, some people have said, why don't I just use a double boiler to melt these down? And the problem with a double boiler is that when you put water into the double boiler, when it starts to boil, it causes steam to form on the top. And the problem with this is that the steam can, obviously is water, will fall into the balm. And you don't want to put water in your balm, because water without some sort of preservative can actually cause the product to go bad and you can get sick. So I would recommend not using a double boiler to melt down your beard balm, but instead melt it in the oven. That way you're not going to get any water into your balm. Okay, so to melt down the balm, you're gonna need a cookie sheet, because what we're gonna do is put it in the oven and we're gonna set it to 170 degrees and let it melt down completely. And then we'll take it out of the oven, stir it with a toothpick, and then let it set for a bit until it cools. Now, first thing I'm gonna do before that is I'm going to set this to 170. 170. Okay, so I'm actually going to be melting down several of these at once. 170, so I'm going to start laying them out. I've taken the caps off because what I don't want to happen is have it melt inside with the cap on it, because it's not going to cool off correctly. It's not going to have that look that I'm looking for. So take the cap off. And just lay them out on the cookie sheet. I'm gonna go ahead and put these balms into the oven. Okay, let's take a look and see how they're looking. Okay, so now and they're looking nice and melted at this point. So I'm going to go ahead and pull them out. I'm going to put down some pot holders here on the counter. Put this pot holder on. Slowly bring it up. Just let these cool. Okay, and as these are cooling, you're going to want to also just stir them. And I use a toothpick. I've got one for each of these. Well, guys, that pretty much wraps it up. That's all there is to it. Off. If you take a look at the consistency of that balm now, you're going to see it's nice and smooth, no grit in there, and that's exactly how you want it to be. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me, Nate Powell. Thank you very much for your time, and I hope you have a great day. You can click on